Hey y'all, today we're talking about the ASUS ROG Strix G16, a wonderful gaming laptop under $1,500, but how much is it exactly? I'll tell you in a little bit, but for now, why don't you sit down, relax, and listen to me talk about it. Welcome to Tom's Honest Tips. Alright, this is the ASUS ROG Strix G16 with the i7-13650HX and the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4060. It comes with 16GB of DDR5 RAM and a 1TB SSD. That's cool and all, but let's start with the display. This is a 16-inch laptop with a 1920 by 1200 resolution. What an odd resolution. Now, unlike most other screens with 1920 by 1080 and all, this one has a taller 16 by 10 aspect ratio, giving you extra vertical space, hence the 1920 by 1200 resolution. The display has a refresh rate of 165Hz and 100% sRGB coverage, which makes it a darn good option for gaming and general use. It's also Pantone validated, so no worries when it comes to color accuracy. For professional tasks, however, personally, I don't think it's really that great. I'd recommend a, 100% DCI-P3 panel, but it's whatever. It's also G-Sync compatible, so screen tearing is not going to be an issue at all. Alright, now that we've talked about that, it's time we talk about the guts. As mentioned, this laptop has an Intel Core i7-13650HX, an RTX 4060, 16GB of DDR5 RAM, and a 1TB SSD. Now, the i7 processor is a 14-core processor with 20 threads, and it can boost up to a maximum of 4.9 GHz. Basically, it's good for gaming, really.
Okay.
Now, what about the RTX 4060? It is an 8GB GPU, which is great for 1080p gaming. Since this laptop has a 1920 by 1200 resolution, which is just slightly higher than 1080p, the 8GB of VRAM should be fine unless you crank texture settings to ultra in every game. Now, onto the benchmarks before the more boring stuff. For Red Dead 2, this laptop averages around 70 to 80 frames per second normally. That's at 1080p, 1200p at mostly ultra settings with DLSS at ultra quality. For Spider-Man Remastered at 1200p with mostly very high settings, the ASUS ROG Strix averages 55 to the mid-60s for the most part, and that's with DLSS at quality. And now, the boring stuff. Ports. Or maybe it isn't so boring after all. Without ports, we won't be able to game. The back of this laptop is void of ports, and to the left, we have a power connector, obviously, an Ethernet connector, an HDMI 2.1 port, two USB-C ports, with one of them being a Thunderbolt 4 port, and an audio jack. To the right, it's rather simple. Two USB-A ports. That's about it. What about upgradability? Surely a laptop of this price would have some upgradable RAM and storage, right? Well, huzzah, it does. 16GB in DDR5 is alright, but 32GB is better. As usual, 2 slots for each module. You might need to replace the RAM sticks entirely, however, because again, 2 slots for the RAM. Storage-wise, things look better with an extra slot for an SSD. All in all, great laptop, good specs, what more is there to say? You can scan this QR code for the laptop, and these QR codes for the RAM kit and the SSD if you wanna. If you didn't, I don't really have a say in what you wanna do. Thanks for watching, I guess. Nah, I'm kidding. Thank you for watching. Thank you, truly. Anyway, I'm Tom, and I hope you all have a great day.